Hey everyone, sorry, Randy's borrowing part of my camera, so we're recording this on my phone, so that's probably why it might be a little awkward and the audio might not be amazing. But, and we're in Brandon's car, so. But we just got out of Aquaman.
Where are we?
Outside of Aquaman. The theater is right there.
Where?
Yes. And, my immediate thought when we're walking out is, Brandon, we gotta start doing the reviews again. And what a perfect movie to start with. But the best film of the year, Aquaman. Brandon, would you like to describe the plot of Aquaman?
It defies all attempts at analysis. I don't know what the fuck I watched.
Brandon, it was very, very simple. Okay, so basically, the film is about Queen Atlanta, who's played by Nicole Kidman. She comes up on shore and has a child with a man who is the clone Jango Fett guy from the Star Wars prequels. You know, clearly his film levels aren't exactly raised. But, so, the two of them have a kid, which is Aquaman. And, where do I even go from here? So, jump forward into the future, where pirates attack a submarine. Aquaman stops them, and during this fight, Black Manta, who is an Aquaman villain, his dad gets stuck in the submarine, and Aquaman doesn't save him, and so Black Manta's trying to help his dad, but the dad says, "Get out of here," and he pulls out a grenade, and he's like, "I'll blow us both up unless you get out of here."
Oh my god.
So he gets out of there, and then this is the beginning. I'm gonna try not to spoil it, so from here on I'm gonna try to be a bit more vague. And then basically another submarine that's not that submarine attacks Atlantis because of Black Manta in a scene that we don't see. And because of this, King Orm, the king of Atlantis, decides to go to war with the surface world, but first he has to unite all of the kingdoms of Atlantis.
Even the hyenas?
Hyenas?
Huh?
What?
I don't know. All the kingdoms.
What are you talking
I
about?
just
Hyenas?
Lion King. I don't know. My brain is broken. My brain is broken.
So Aquaman has to stop this by going with Mira, and going to find this legendary trident. So basically, it's kind of like an Indiana Jones film wrapped in a superhero film.
Wrapped in shit.
And it's like
blended
Jeff
together.
Johns' entire comic book run forced into one film. Except again, it's a complete mess.
And also keep in mind that this is the studio that said, okay, we figured it out. We have to make good films now.
Yes, the problem is that we're making bad films. Now we have to make good films. Then they made Aquaman.
We have realized the faults in our ways. Course correction time. Aquaman.
Yes, he's played by Jason Momoa, who I didn't think was that bad in the film.
Comparative to everybody else. He comes out looking like Marlon Brando.
His love interest is a complete plank of wood.
Oh. No, you see the main problem with this is that it both tries in its defense. I know James Wan said that he wanted to make a complete balls to the wall film that
there were balls, and they did they did
he wanted to make a completely crazy film, but he also at times, like 5 seconds apart from when he's doing something that is totally out there crazy as shit, will try to put in something that is emotionally weighty, and it is delivered by actors who don't know what the fuck is going on any more than the rest of the audience does. And as a result, it all falls totally fucking flat on its face. And nothing sticks with you, and the whole sequence is just lost and I don't even know what went on.
Brandon, you're saying nothing sticks with you, but I disagree, okay?
Okay.
Many things stuck with me personally.
Yeah.
Number one, Black Manta being smashed in the face by Aquaman's balls.
That needs... That... let's give you no context to that.
I'll give context.
No.
So spoilers. Aquaman obviously beats Black Manta in the middle of the film he picks up a chain with 2 concrete balls at each end, and he throws it at him, and it wraps around Black Manta's neck, hits him in the face with one of the balls right as he shoots his lasers, and it explodes in his face.
So
and
he's killed by balls.
I literally started crying. I was laughing so hard at how embarrassing of a defeat Black Manta had. Not to mention the fact that they were probably fighting for 5 minutes? Black Manta shows up essentially for a 5-minute fight scene in the middle of the film. You can take him completely out of the story, and it would make complete sense. Like, you do not need him in this film. He is there because we need to put every recognizable piece of Aquaman material from the last... since the New 52 started, at least, all into one film.
That's the thing. I completely agree with that. You could take him out entirely and it would make no difference. His purpose originally in the film was to be like some guy that was just there for him. Yeah, the muscle villain that Momoa easily takes out in the very beginning, and he moves on to start his actual journey. But for some reason, the writers felt the need to actually have him stick into the film and insert himself into a story of which he has no place.
Like I said, he's essentially the muscle villain. Like I said, where yes, he is beat at the beginning, but that's just to show he's given this arc of revenge where he wants to get revenge on Aquaman. So that's where he gets the full-on Black Manta suit, so that he can show up at the middle to fight Aquaman. My problem is that it does not serve the story at all. It is literally just, we need him to fight somebody here, and obviously we want a muscle villain, which is nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But it should have been somebody in Atlantis instead of just throwing Black Manta into this film.
Yeah.
And they set him up to come back again. I'm sorry, but I don't care. I just saw him get smashed in the face with concrete balls and then fall off a mountain.
He is a joke at this point.
He's a joke at this point.
He's Black Odin. He lost an eye.
Yes. And I'm just like, I don't care. Not that I would see a sequel to this film. This film was completely embarrassing. Other things that stuck with me.
Let's talk about Dolph Lundgren and his fantastic flowing locks.
Yes, Dolph Lundgren is in this film for some reason. He is one of the leaders of one of the...
he's one of the kings of one of the
people that...
Kingdoms of the Sea.
That Orm/Ocean Master...
Has to unite.
Yeah, and he's just there. He doesn't really do all that much. He's just kind of there. But he has amazing flowing hair. But not as amazing as Willem Dafoe's man bun.
Yeah, I couldn't take him seriously with that.
Willem Dafoe, by the way, was completely wasted in this film.
Yeah.
And pretty much took me out every time I saw him as he sat there like...
Yeah.
No, this is based the entire film.
But more substantially, somebody we should talk about is Patrick Wilson, the main villain.
Atlantis!
Yes. There's several times where he gives out a kingly battle cry. And
most of his dialogue is done like this.
Kingly battle cries.
Sometimes it is done in words, and other times it's just oh.
I don't know if this was maybe intentional, in the sense that it was to let you know that he is not the true king because he has no gravitas. But it just sounds embarrassing whenever he tries to do it. Like, it sounds like what you know.
Atlantis! I'm your king! Kill the Aquaman! And it's like, what?
You just
what
end
is
up,
this performance?
you
Like, I
end up
like
laughing
Patrick
at it.
Wilson normally, but he's doing the most awkward yell I've ever heard, and it's almost every line.
Yeah.
Like, it's, oh my god, I have no idea whether that's on him or if that's on James Wan for being like, yep, sounds good. Or maybe Patrick Wilson tried to do it normally, but James Wan said, can we get another take, do it a little more awkward, a little less gravitas,
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
what to say? Like I said, 90% or way more than 90%, way closer to 100% of this film is just totally lost on me. I don't know. I'm totally like just spaced out at every single action sequence. 5 seconds between everything happening.
Can we talk
there's
about
a
the
new
action?
thing happening that it just loses me. There's go ahead and talk about the action. Yeah.
So the very first action scene was with Nicole Kidman fighting off some Atlantean guardsmen, and I turned to Brandon after it was done and was like, I really hope that this is not how the action looks, because I was completely
Gave you a headache?
Yeah, it gave me. I was so dizzy watching it, because basically, and it pretty much is every action scene. And the camera will spin around and they'll flip over.
It like they're trying to be Kingsman.
And it's
almost?
like all CG.
It seems like it's almost
and
like Kingsman.
Not great
trying
CG.
to.
No, I wouldn't go that far because Kingsman's closer.
Right, but it's like it's trying to
James Wan was
master that style
farther back. Yeah, I'd say probably that mixed with the Snyder thing, because there was a lot of the stupid slow motion.
Yeah.
When we get the Matrix shot, we got it in The Last Jedi last year, and we get it in this film this year. Don't know why. The Matrix is what?
It's the hip thing again, Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are no directors who are more ahead of the curve in terms of what is hip than
Ryan Johnson and James
Wan.
And it sucks too, because I quite like James Wan.
Yeah.
I like him well enough. I didn't like Saw, but I liked Insidious. Conjuring I thought was okay, but I haven't seen it since in a few years, so I might feel differently on it. Like, I might like it better.
And speaking on that, yeah, he is primarily a horror director. There is one sequence in this where it's sort of like horror creatures come out of the deep and they're attacking a ship. And that one elongated sequence, you could tell that he was purely focused on something that was totally him.
But then it goes back to the horrible action. When they're on the boat, it was okay, but when they go into the water, we're talking about basically, they put in the trench from Jeff Johns' run, and they're on a boat, and the trench jump up on them. I actually walked away to the washroom, and came in
when they were going into it.
Yeah, I came in, and they were already being attacked by the trench. But basically, from what I saw, they were being attacked by the trench on the boat, and they were using flares to, basically as light to keep them back. And it was it was all right. It was pretty good. But the second they got in water, can flares be lit underwater?
That's what I was thinking, as if that thing would survive.
Right? Like, and he's lighting them underwater too.
Yeah, he lit one underwater.
But the second they jump into the water off the boat, it goes right back to the incredibly hard to see, dark, just mess of
close up,
CG.
Switching between close up and too far back, and you see these things.
But it's not even just that.
It's
also there's the scene with the tidal wave where they get hit by the tidal wave and he's under the water. It's so incredibly hard to see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And it's just not done very well. And there's a bizarre Lord of the Rings battle towards the end. And it was funny because with the crab people against Ocean Master.
Where did they come from? There was no description of like, as far as I know, like, you have to face the Brine King before that. Like, there was no setup. As far as I remember,
they were one of the kingdoms that he had to unite. They said he had to unite 4 of the 7.
Yes, but what I'm saying is there was no mention, as far as I remember. And I could be mistaken, but as far as I remember, they did not mention that he was extremely resistant to doing it, and he would never unite with them.
No, they did. That's
They
the whole,
did.
because the whole thing is he has to unite with Dolph Lundgren first, so that he could have his military might as well to force the other two into working with him. That's what they say.
Oh, okay.
At the beginning.
Well, it's still
That's
sequence
one
either
I
way.
don't think you can go on about. But and the second, it was the Brine King. You said that's what they're called, the Brine. I just call them the Crab
Army,
People.
the
'Cause they're
crab
crab
people.
people. And the king of them, I'm like, oh my god, that's Gimli. And I turned to Brandon and I go, nobody tosses a crab. That's right. Get to the credits. Yeah, it was John Rhys Davies.
It was actually Gimli. What an embarrassing film for all involved.
At least. But can we talk about the perfect casting, like the best casting in the entire film, of Julie Andrews, Mary Poppins herself, as a giant kraken / Pacific Rim kaiju monster.
Yeah.
Who shows up, yes, with the voice of Julie Andrews, who, granted, is doing a voice, but I was still distracted by the fact that it's Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins. Yes. At the end, he's riding her.
He's riding Mary Poppins into battle. She's Mary Poppins, y'all. And oh my god.
Oh yeah. Another thing that we have to mention, for anyone who has ever said the line, "Man, Disney is heavy-handed with their messaging," you can all go. You can all hold your. DC just said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah. It's all in one scene, really, though.
Right. Yes, they want to have an environmentally friendly message here, where it's just like, oh, we're poisoning
for one scene.
Yeah, we're poisoning the oceans and everything. Oh, we throw our dirt and our garbage into them, and we pollute, and we have destroyed the ecosystem.
And this goes nowhere.
It goes nowhere. It doesn't actually tackle it. By the end of the film, they've never actually addressed this problem at all, or this concern, because it's Patrick Wilson's concern, and the reason for him to turn to his turn to his actions. But they never address.
Yep.
After he's defeated, like, okay, what about it?
There's no solution. We don't even know.
He's just
because
beat
he
it.
throws up all the trash onto the shore. We don't even know what happens after that.
We don't know. Yeah.
As far as we know, they could just shovel it back in.
Yeah.
It's never brought up again.
Yeah, Aquaman never addressed what he was going to do.
No, Aquaman never mentions it. Because this is...
Yeah.
We keep doing these movies, and I understand this is a comic book thing, but where there are super advanced societies that choose their leader based on who can beat the other person up in a fight. So
Black
instead
Panther style as well.
But at least Black Panther, they had ideologies, and
they actually both addressed them in different ways.
Yeah, and they had ideas.
One of them was like I'm gonna take over, and we're the black people are gonna rise up with our advanced technology, and we're gonna take over, and we're gonna take down the oppressors.
It was essentially Black Hitler in that film.
Right.
And
then his was, no, we should educate the people, and we should give them what was it? We should give them we show them a better way, essentially.
Yeah. In this film, Aquaman is nothing. Aquaman is always played as an idiot. Like, just constantly. Like, people call him an idiot, and he's basically like, oh, yep, I'm an idiot. And his solution is always just to punch things. Even at the end, where he's shown worthy for this mythical trident, because, like I said, that's what the film's about, is him getting this trident.
Yeah.
The whole thing is that he decides not to fight for it, but his whole thing is not like, I have all these things that will make me a good king. It's just, I care about people, and I don't want them to die. So if I get the trident, I can kill the people that are going to hurt them.
And they also set up a thing where he has to actually master the skills of actually learning to fight with a trident. And then magically, once he has that magical mythical trident, he has finally learned to master the spin moves and everything. But he's never at any point practiced with a trident in the film beyond when they show that flashback.
Well, he uses
where he
uses the 5-pronged trident that is not a trident, even though they refer to it as a trident.
Okay, Sheldon.
It's in the name.
Okay, Sheldon.
3. Don't bring up that show around me. That show is trash.
And anyway.
No, but he does use it as a main weapon. So,
but he never
uses the special spin move. I agree. And he pulls that straight out of his ass. But
yeah.
But I think him just using it in general is fine.
Yeah, in general, but he never learns.
Yeah, he never learns the way of the Force yet uses it at the end.
Right. What is it like? Yeah, with Black Panther again. Is it T'Challa?
Yeah.
Yeah, T'Challa. He has an ideology in the beginning of the film and
he learns and he changes.
Like staying in a closed society, keeping it closed off, keeping it protectionism, and through his interactions and realizing what his enemy's ideology is and what his problems are, knows that this is actually a serious argument that actually needs to be addressed. Just needs to be addressed in a much better way than Black Hitler is addressing it.
Because what Black Panther does is, and I'm sorry that
he actually learns something.
We're just comparing it to Marvel. Marvel's not perfect all the time, but
not all the time.
I think Aquaman and Black Panther definitely have parallels. Yeah. And I'm going to bring up the other parallel in a second.
Oh, okay.
But, Black Panther's whole thing is that Black Panther learns from his villain, takes the things that work about his ideology, and includes it into his ideology, and grows as a person. Aquaman is up against Mr. Atlantis!
I can spin a trident and you can't!
Yeah, and he
learns to spin a trident.
He learns to spin a trident.
Then he breaks his trident. And then he doesn't actually learn anything about his actual grievances, because he didn't have to. All he had to do was spin a trident.
Yeah, all he had to do was win in a fight, and
that's all. And since his solution from the very beginning was to just punch
his immediate response is, "What do I do now?" And Mira goes, "You be their king," and he goes, "Oh." Ah! Literally, his response to that is he just raises his fist.
That's what he thinks being a king is to just scream.
Granted, he has a manlier scream.
A much manlier. He has a pretty manly scream.
But that's it. That's all he has.
Yeah, that's what he has going for him, king-wise.
And when he falls, he does the goofy yell.
Yeah.
Jumps out of a plane. It's oh god. And the other thing is, like I said, this is a very Indiana Jones style adventure film. Mm-hmm. Indiana Jones is very clear point A to B plot. Like, it's not, oh, Indiana Jones goes here. Oh, this evil villain who has nothing really to do with the rest of the film shows up, and Indiana Jones is gonna fight him for a bit. They do the muscle villain, but they work it into what he's actually up against throughout the rest of the film. And it's just like, how did you fail this hard, guys? Like, I'd say the Indiana Jones style of like an adventure film is probably one of the easiest like plot structures to do. Again, it's point A to point B. Not...
I don't even know what it was.
I don't either. My brain was leaking the entire film.
It started at point K and it went back to point C and then over to point T.
And at some point it ended up on point L and then
it went back to point A.
And then it ended on point 9. Not even on the same...
It's numbers now. Now we're doing numbers. We have realized our mistake is that we were doing letters. We should have been doing numbers. We as a studio will be doing numbers now from now on.
Because you know what? Compared to the other DC films, because so far of the DCEU, none of them have been good. I know a lot of people like Wonder Woman. People only like Wonder Woman, I'm convinced, because it followed BVS and Suicide Squad. Wonder Woman's a complete mess as well. We reviewed it on the channel.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more at the time than I do now.
Well, I remember I liked it a lot more at the start of the review and ended up hating it.
Yeah.
As we talked about it. But that's neither here nor there. You know what, though? Suicide Squad, Justice League, even to an extent BVS, all these, like, disasters. There's so much studio meddling and messing around, and it's clearly no one's vision.
Yeah.
This film isn't like that.
This was a
unless they've completely
been made.
Yes, exactly. And it reminded me of the Star Wars prequels the whole time of just like you're cramming so much into a plot that makes no sense. CG's terrible, acting's terrible. The writing is completely god-awful. There were so many lines that were
like
just horribly written.
Set aside the jokes that all fall flat.
Okay. this one, like, I didn't even understand. So when Black Manta and Aquaman are fighting, Aquaman falls into a room where there's an old woman sitting there. But there's never a joke about it. Like, it's played like it's supposed to be funny.
In itself.
But it's like, what's funny? Yeah, there's an old woman sitting there while they're fighting, like.
Yeah.
Not that you have to make a joke, but it was clearly a setup for a joke.
And then they just sort of froze up, and
but then you get
as the final cut.
Hilarious humor, like the one Atlantean guard shoving his head down a toilet so that he can breathe.
Yeah.
Brandon and I just turned to each other and we're like, "Yeah, this is this film now." I don't know.
Yeah, you often say something when you see a film that you don't like.
This made $1 billion.
When you see a film that you don't quite like, you say something. You say, "Yep, that's a movie." You can't say that now, Austin. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? Say something to the people to close off this review.
Aquaman exists.
Aquaman exists. Good night.
But I wouldn't say it's their worst film. It's definitely a step. Okay, it's terrible. Brandon and I don't know. I probably shouldn't speak for you, but I think I can in the sense that I think Brandon and I had a lot of fun at the same time, in that we both basically just riffed on the movie.
We laughed
we laughed so hard, and nobody else in the theater did.
Nobody.
And Brandon and I
we just realized the irony of our mistake.
Yeah.
To go to this.
Yeah, and Brandon sucks, okay? We were gonna go to my house and watch Ed Wood, and Brandon goes, "Oh, we're gonna watch the Aquaman instead."
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very glad that we watched Aquaman over Ed Wood.
I'm not. I don't know what you're thinking.
Well, Ed Wood's both funny and just a great film in general.
That's right. This is just funny because it's bad.
This is DC's Samurai Cop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, to me, it's on that level. It is so bad that I just laughed at it the whole time, and I don't know.
You laughed at the failure of the movie.
Yeah, I never laughed with it. It was always at it, and if I ever see this film again, it'll probably be probably with you and maybe a group of people, and we'll just sit there and riff on it.
Yeah.
Like we did with The Room, Samurai Cop, Troll 2, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you have any closing thoughts?
I mean, this is a movie that I guess you really have to compare to maybe BVS and Suicide Squad. You have to really compare it to that in terms of just total fall on your face, screw up, get nothing right type of movie, and you got to wonder, where does it actually stack up? Considering me as somebody who says, up until now, has firmly said Suicide Squad is the worst movie ever made.
See, I can't go that far. That's not mine. Mine is Cars 2, goddammit.
Okay, yeah.
I watched an hour and a half of Larry the Cable Guy and wanted to die the entire time.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah. this has given me maybe a little bit of pause. I don't know. But maybe I'll just
It's not Suicide Squad.
Stay firm on the fact that at least I laughed. And
There's
enjoyed
entertainment in this film.
Yes.
Go see this film if you want to feel like somebody holding your head and smashing it repeatedly against a wall.
Yeah.
And then doing the Clockwork Orange, forcing you to watch
Or
nonsense.
Or if you're ever down about yourself, about your abilities to actually make it in the world, doing what you love, and think you'd be a total failure. If you want something that will give you hope, go see this movie right now. This is the antidote to all suffering,
I think
to all depression, to all anxiety. Nobody can feel anxious and depressed about their situation knowing that somebody was paid to make this.
I think that's a good place to end this review.
I agree.
Thanks, everyone.